Welcome back, everybody. It's Clutch Gamers versus Fnatic for MDL SEA qualifiers. I'm Baseskip. It's great to be here casting for you guys on behalf of Beyond the Summit. This is game 2 of a best-of-3 series, and as we load ourselves in, we're going to find Clutch Gamers at a 1-0 lead. It is, not all hope is lost for Fnatic. Of course, they still have this game, and if they lose the series, it is still a full double elimination bracket, but and this is a big but, there's only one qualifier spot for SEA. So they've got a lot of great teams that they're going to have to run up against if they want to make it further in the bracket and if they want to make it to that main event. So once again, we're going to be seeing the same opening bans from Clutch Gamers as they get rid of the Earth Spirit and the Ursa. Legion Commander and Lina are the bans from Fnatic, so Lina not going to be making it through into the pool this game, and they will once again go for this early Crystal Maiden pickup, bypassing the Monkey King, potentially. And I guess Clutch Gamers, they now have the opportunity to grab that for themselves again, which they will. What they will follow that up with, what did they pick in game 1 in their second pick spot? They picked the Lina, I'm pretty sure. But this time around, they pick Omni Knight. Alright. Monkey King plus Omni Knight was reasonably popular in pubs when Monkey King was being played core, because kind of the only way to deal with a Monkey King in his ultimate is either to pick Venge and swap him out, or to just burst him down. And Monkey King at the time, not really buying a whole lot of magic immunity, people rushing Bashers and buying Echo Sabers and whatnot, and Omni Knight really covers him very nicely. You can just sit in the middle of his ulti with a repel on and not really have a care in the world. So Fnatic are going to grab the Abaddon. I'd really like to see some kind of stun from their 4 position if they're going to run the Abaddon off lane. It could just be that the general plan is similar to last game, that they just want to have this run-at-you lineup. Since Clutch Gamers are reasonably greedy so far. I think the Omni Knight is a little bit of a greedy hero, especially with the way that a lot of people are playing in the off lane right now, buying Midases and looking for Radiances and all that kind of stuff. So could be a little bit of an opportunity for some rush down here, but Clutch Gamers get rid of some lockdown position 4 as they get rid of the tree, and then they're also going to be banning the Phantom Assassin once again. So it looks like Clutch Gamers just really doing their homework. They knew exactly what Fnatic like to play. This P8 is a QO special, even if it's not really playable for the patch, or no other teams are picking it.
10 seconds.
QO is the one player that is always running this Phantom Assassin, always having his defensive supports backing him up, and seems to always kind of make it work. So a little bit of respect behind that ban. I talked about the Slardar a little bit in the drafts for game 1. I think that could be a good option for Fnatic here, given that they have the Abaddon as their position 3, so they can actually run the Slardar as a 4 this game. And Clutch Gamers, another relatively greedy hero, as they do grab the Phoenix. I like the idea of if Fnatic are going to have a rushdown lineup, and a rushdown lineup being relatively low cooldown, find lots of pickoffs in the early game, and then segue those into towers, they're naturally going to have an aversion to picking teamfight ultimates and picking long cooldown stuff. So one way that you can deal with this rushdown style that they like to play is just by picking a boatload of teamfight and then being smart about picking your battles. You need to make sure that you're willing to cut your losses if somebody gets caught by a smoke, and you need to make sure that you're fighting in the right positions around vision and you've got your spells ready to go. But that can be a good way to deal with a lineup that is looking to deathball and looking to pick you off a whole lot and really just set this extremely fast tempo of game. So I think the Phoenix is good for that. The fact that they've got Monkey King and Phoenix as their 2 supports, could be a little bit awkward this game, because both of them do want quite a bit of farm. They're both potentially Midas heroes. You could see 3 Midases already across the 3 Clutch Gamers heroes so far. It does give them some more high ground defense as well to go along with the team fight that they have. But I think the general plan at the moment is lay down the Wukong's command, put the Supernova in the middle of it, and that should hopefully be enough to win them a team fight. Fnatic gonna have to figure out some way around that. I think a Troll Warlord could be pretty good for them here. I feel like I've just got Troll Warlord on the brain because of seeing it in these China matches that I've been casting over the last little bit, but instead we're gonna have a Spectre. All right, so maybe they are gonna give Clutch Gamers this this pace of game that they kind of wanted. A Diffusal Blade hero is still nice to have against Omni Knight even after the changes, now that Repel is undispellable, but still potentially quite important remaining against the ultimate. See, they've got the Spectre now, and it's going to give them some good vision, but I would like to see some heroes to utilize that vision as well. Get some jump in initiation, potentially. Their mid lane hero is going to have to be very active, but I think that goes without saying because they do have QO as their mid players, so I think whatever he's going to be playing, it'll be reasonably active. Though he doesn't... I don't know if he necessarily plays stuff like Puck. Alright, bit of a switch up for Clutch Gamers. Are they trying to see if they can switch gears on their lineup? It was, you know, kind of a first gear, slow but steady lineup early on, but this Vengeful Spirit maybe looking to pick up the pace a little bit. I think the big reason that they do that is to see, it was to try and punish Fnatic for their greed by plopping the Spectre pick into the middle of the draft. Abaddon can be an aggressive hero if you have an aggressive lineup and you're 5-manning and you're using his sustain and you're hitting buildings, but at the same time he doesn't really make plays by himself. And Fnatic, alright, they're gonna pick themselves a Pudge. I mean, decent roaming early. They've got Pudge plus Crystal Maiden to put pressure on whatever lane that they want. The Abaddon can also be pretty potent with the Pudge. You throw a shield on him, he starts rotting.
10 seconds
all of a sudden,
remaining.
He's not losing health, but you're still chasing down whoever you've managed to catch on the enemy team. Gives them some more high ground defense as well. It's not...
Reserve time.
It's not the most reliable initiation, unfortunately. So... Again, I think if they fall behind, they run into this problem of how do they set up ganks. You know, kind of right now they have to land a hook. Maybe they can run up and frostbite and then chuck a hook and a haunt comes in, but it feels a little bit unreliable. And Clutch Gamers, I mean, as much as their lineup looked a little bit greedy with those 3 opening picks, these are heroes that can also just 5-man and push, and they've got push sustain and plenty of it, so... What do they go for now? They look for something like a Shadow Fiend to go along with the Vengeful Spirit. I definitely think you want some kind of a right-click hero to benefit from the Venge aura. I think a Shadow Fiend would go beautifully for them right now. They can put the Repel on him so he can go and Siege. They've got the Vengeful Spirit for all the bonus damage. Wouldn't be bad to have a little bit more physical damage to take a potential Roshan as well once they get that ball rolling. The ban will instead be the Templar Assassin, as Fnatic will actually end up picking the Puck. Alright. Well, I doubted QO a little bit, but maybe my memory is just faulty, and looks like he is going to be playing a bit of Puck this game. So it gives them some much-needed catch. They definitely needed some AoE teamfight. Good against the Phoenix. Gives them something to actually do with the Spectre Haunt as well, because now they can pop the Haunt, they get the vision on the Omni Knight and the Phoenix, and ideally... Puck jumps into the back lines, gets the silence on the Omni Knight and the Phoenix, coils both of them, and then they can get one of those 2 kills before that hero manages to catch any spells. That's the ideal situation here, but we'll see how it all plays out. I do like Fnatic's lineup this game a little bit more than I liked their lineup in the previous game. I think they've managed to patch some of those holes that they had. Oh, alright, Clutch Gamers, it's not going to be the Shadow Fiend. It is going to be a Dragon Knight. I'm just going to drop the mic threshold down a little bit. It seems like I may be cutting out over here, and I'm just the only one casting, so can kind of have the mic open all the time. I think Dragon Knight, it's maybe a slightly more stable version of the same idea that I was just talking about. You got a hero who can siege some buildings, utilize the Vengeful Spirit for some right-click, and in general, just try and punish this fairly greedy Spectre pick. Actually, I don't know. It's Miracle on the Puck, and QO on the Spectre. So maybe I was right. Who knows? They're not going to put Spectre mid, right? They're just lane swapping, I suppose.
10 seconds remaining.
All right. Clutch Gamers, they picked up all their heroes. Looks like, I don't know if we're ticketed for this game, but it looks like all the names are at least set up here. Actually, no. I mean, Ohio is still Winston, so maybe not. Maybe the admins just asked the players to update their tags and then relaunch the game. Can be a little bit fiddly to get that to stick, but Alright. And now, of course, they've got their strategy time. For anyone who's just tuning in, this is the MDL SEA. This is the MDL SEA qualifier. This is game 2 of Clutch Gamers versus Fnatic, and Clutch Gamers are currently up at a 1-0 advantage. So if they win this game, they're moving on. Fnatic are going to be dropped down to the lower bracket, where things are going to get very scary very quickly, especially if you've looked at the other teams that are participating in this qualifier. We get our nice, not that helpful tower showdown screen because it's broken, and moving swiftly along. Let's get ourselves into this game. We've got the greedy but not necessarily Fnatic lineup because Spectre can get involved early on. Just needs that little bit of setup, and I think the puck covers that very, very nicely. We've got Ohio on the Abaddon. DJ's going to be on the Crystal Maiden one more time. Febby's going to be on Pudge. And Kyo on the Spectre. Meanwhile, over for the CG side, we have Hana on the Omni Knight Armel. On Dragon Knight, Gabby's going to be on your safe lane Vengeful Spirit. We are going to have Boombacks once again on the Monkey King. And finally, we have Flying Solo down towards the bottom side of the map, putting down a couple of Observer Wards as he goes. It looks like he's even going to come over and maybe plant this ward over here, but does get scouted out by Febby. He's already used the Icarus dive, actually, so just going to have to try and juke his way through right now, but Crystal Maiden going to spot him out. DJ not skilling anything up just yet. I think DJ kind of... DJ is expecting that he has the Icarus dive ready, so there isn't really any way that they can get that kill. And they are going to see that he still has an Observer Ward and a Sentry Ward in his inventory, so probably have a solid idea that there's a ward somewhere here. Where exactly that ward is, we'll see if they can figure it out. Do they have any sentries? Looks like they in fact do not. Crystal Maiden having to buy pretty much all of the early support items. And Pudge going for a slightly greedier setup with a Stout Shield and a Windlace. So very much a kind of run-at-you lineup. Run-at-you setup for this early stage of the game. Maybe try and grab an easy first blood, but Hana's got the intel from the ward, and he'll kind of know what's coming. Ohio's actually managed to sneak his way all the way into the top side of the map. He's got himself a nice little Radiant Observer Ward as well, but looks like he's just going to try and steal the creep wave here to secure himself some CS, since he does not want to get zoned out by the Monkey King. He gets 2 of the creeps. He wants the other 2, but not quite able to get there. I know this could actually be trouble. Gabby gonna tango through. They do not have an Orb of Venom, but they got tons of damage. And Magic Missile isn't actually a particularly long cooldown. He does have some boots to be able to escape a little bit further. And he's got a Sentry Ward to block this big camp on his way through. So he messes up the lane equilibrium. Oh, a little bit, but not enough. And that was a pretty big gamble from Ohio that he's now lost out on. Armel, doing pretty well on CS early on here, but Miracle is going to give him a hard time with that Null Talisman. Fly Solo is actually looking for the Courier Snipe right now, but Miracle has not opted to buy a Salve. He's actually trying to straight rush a secondary Null Talisman, looks like, to give him a little bit more of a damage lead. And he's actually doing very well here mid, laying in with tons of harassment, but I mean, DK, if he wants to, he can get a second point in the Dragon's Blood. At level 3, he'll probably be okay. Looks like Omni Knight in some trouble, getting body blocked a bit down bottom. This repel is not going to last very long, and there's another Frostbite coming up. This could actually just be a death for Hana here. A couple more auto attacks from the Fnatic side, and Febby will grab it. That Stout Shield going to help him out a little bit as well as he retreats from the tower. And is he just going to deny himself? Maybe buy some boots before he goes down? Yeah, not even any gold lost. And he'll be back up soon. Okay. Omni Knight straight back into the lane, but it's still relatively under control. Q already picking up some boots, so he's going to be ready to help out for future attempts on the life of the Omni Knight. Dragon Knight does end up going for the second point in the Dragon's Blood, and despite some pretty fancy footwork from Miracle, still pretty much even on CS. I don't think this lane's going to be crazy interesting. If Miracle can do a good job and phase shift a bunch of the Breathe Fires, then maybe he can really swing this lane in his favor. Oop, dive forward, fly solo. Oh man, Miracle was being so careful with the courier. He brought it all the way around on this side, but doesn't end up mattering. Miracle instead just going to go for the first blood. Jumps in, does still have the Fairy Fire, no phase shift however, and that means he's just going to give his life away to the Dragon Knight. But it was still the first blood, so maybe worth it. Get some revenge for his courier at the very least. Alright, this time around Ohio has successfully stolen the creep wave, so going to get his second CS of the game here underneath the tower. I think if he knew this lane was going to be that as hard as it is, he might have just bought a Iron Talon and jungled. Though if he'd done that, Monkey King would have just sat there and watched him and stolen half of his experience anyway. So, it's a bit tough. Oop. Dragon Knight, you gotta be careful here. He does have a poor man's shield as well, and now gonna get his bottle delivered. So the harassment is insane, but the advantage not really. So they do have some nice radiant vision up here on the high ground, so they see Fly Solo. Try to make some kind of a move here on Miracle's life. No point in the Dragon Tail up just yet from Armel. Monkey King still hip hopping around. DJ just running some pulls off to the side here. Should get his level 3 up pretty soon. And Omni-Knight actually forced all the way back to the base, it looks like. So, he's going to be using one of the base shrines, maybe? No, actually, he didn't die, did he? No. Just walking back. Monkey King going to spot the Abaddon moving around. Fly Solo not being very passive with the Phoenix in the early game here. They are coming in, but we got the TP immediately from Febby. They've got the stacks on the Abaddon. The hook attempted, and it is going to connect. Monkey King might be in a little bit of trouble here. Going to try and get those stacks up again for some lifesteal, but the shield pops, and he's already dead. No way to get out of that one, and I don't know what they were hoping to accomplish with that rotation. A level 1 Phoenix is just not the most threatening ganking hero. You know, most of the time when you see this Phoenix, it's going to be pulling, it's going to be trying to sort out some levels, but I guess all the pulls are actually blocked. That's what this Radiant Observer Ward over here is for, and the Sentry Ward. So Fly Solo just trying to make the best of a pretty ugly situation. QO is finding some good farm, but the Vengeful Spirit and the DK also doing pretty well for themselves. Armel going to be going for a Midas this game on the Dragon Knight. I feel like this item hasn't been as popular on DK as of late, and I feel like in trouble is QO down bottom. We got the repelled Monkey King looking for this kill. One more touch is going to do it. Turns his attention over towards DJ. Does have the Boundless Strike as well, but needs to be careful of this creep wave. DJ is close to having another Frostbite up. Does he have any tangos? He does, but won't be able to chase down the Monkey King there. Bit of Breathe Fire damage onto Miracle, who has gone for the triple Null Talisman build. Meanwhile, top, Gabby looks like did get hooked, but just going to TP his way back over to his tier 1 tower and Fly Solo. Diving through. Also going to be A-OK. Can Febby just land a rando hook here? That's the question. No. Hoping that Gabby would fade back a little bit, but instead we've actually got QO rotating over to the top side of the map now, just to stay away from the Monkey King's clutches for a little bit. Has picked up some phase, a little ways off from his level 6, so not quite ready to help out his team if they find a good opportunity, but do have a ward back behind the tower. Omni-Knight, a little bit low on mana, can't really TP and help at all, so looks like the pressure's just going to continue up here. Same story for the DK, no TP on him either, and the hook looks like it has connected. Gabby getting healed up a little bit, but Fnatic are not going to let him go. Brought down, and Fly Solo does have a dive up into the trees, forced to also TP out. Miracle hunting for him. No level 6 just yet either. Fnatic are so aggressive. This is insane. They've rotated their Spectre and their Puck, position 1 and position 2, just to come and put pressure on the Venge. They are paying for it elsewhere. It's like DJ is going to be brought down by Boombacks. Should be 2 more touches, but Frostbite's coming up actually. Turning it around somewhat, but the heal is there from Hana. DG going to try again for some jukes, but can't quite do it. And while the Puck is away, the Dragon Knight will be able to get some damage onto the tier 1 tower. I was going to talk about the Midas a little bit. I'm not so sure about Midas for DK, really. I mean, especially now that it's not even that great for experience. It's more just a gold item. I feel like in a lot of cases you'd be better off just buying a Maelstrom. 5-man smoke from Fnatic. What is this? I mean, maybe they'll get the Dragon Knight kill? Armel's suspicious. He doesn't see anything on the map. He's like, what on earth is going on? Observer Ward planted. Very much just relying on Febby to get this kill. And yeah, look at Armel. He knows what's going on. That, and he's waiting for his bottle refill, but can they get this kill? Smokes still there for a little bit. They need to be careful. The Monkey King's just around the corner, but maybe he's the kill that they actually want. They hook him down into the river. He's going to try for the Boundless Strike onto two heroes here. They're lining up. He gets the Boundless Strike onto Miracle. No stun from the Dragon Knight, however, so all he can do is throw a Breathe Fire, and they will end up losing the Monkey King. It was quite a lot of time away from the lane for Miracle, but all of this is kind of space for QO. Farming up at bottom. Is getting pressured all the while by the Omni Knight, which is a bit annoying. It does have a little bit of regen left with another Sal, but that's going to be forced out by this next Purification. And, well, the gank train continues. Choo-choo over to top lane. Pudge. Random hook. Find the Gabby. Oh, no. Oh, no. Alright, well, they got the hunt. Maybe they get this kill anyway. Dragon Knight's turned up, however. Fly Solo able to dive a little bit further away, and looks like Febu is actually dead. Miracle, not too healthy either. QO just going to throw the dagger out and try and run for the tree line, but Gabby's picked up a double so far. He's healing up with the salve. He's being repelled. One more stun. Makes it a triple, and DJ, along with Ohio, all they can do is run. Oh my god, that haunt.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I was like, oh, the hook, and then the Spectre Illusion appears, and the team fight is an utter disaster. Okay, well, gonna be a lot of farm for the Venge. Getting quite close to, well, not that close to her Dragonlance, but working on it. DK smoking over towards mid, really keen to use a little bit of this ultimate to finish off the tier 1 tower, but there is still a glyph available for Fnatic, so it might be a little bit difficult. Yeah, could get the Febi kill as well, potentially. Oh, they get the Boundless Strike all the way from back here. They're going to chase in. Coil does catch onto one. Dragon Tail able to continue pursuit, but Pudge should just be able to keep on running. Might even look to turn around and throw out a hook. And CG, I think they've gone for a dive just a little bit too far. All right, Monkey King dying once again. Nice heal from Hana, but he's already used the repel. And Puck continues pursuit. He's got the Waning Rift. DK still tanking through everything, but the Dragon's Blood will not be enough. And Ohio, despite a very slow start to the game, now picking up a double kill. Fly Solo just barely able to TP out there. But tower also going to end up being denied. So they lose 2 heroes. And as much as that attempted dive top from Fnatic was a complete disaster, CG are going to oblige right back and go for a disastrous dive of their own. And, alright. QO just trying to work on an urn right now. What's Pudge doing in terms of levels? Well, he's going to get a couple more up here. Febi taking over the top lane for a little bit. And Ohio, just the Morbid Mask away from his Vlads. Dragon Knight still trying to pick up this Hand of Midas, but unfortunately for him, didn't get the last hit on that tier 1 tower mid, so still a little ways off. And it's a 3-man smoke making its way bot, looking for a little bit of pick and push. Is CG coming in here, hoping to find the Spectre farming. They do spot her, but I mean, they just gotta randomly run up and Magic Missile as the initiation, and that might be a little bit difficult. Monkey King could join in soon, but if he jumps away from this creep wave in full vision of QO, that could get a little bit suspicious. But it looks like we're gonna have a quick pause. In terms of our graphs, we're heading back to about even in terms of the net worth. A little bit in favor of Fnatic in terms of the EXP. Looks like QO just reconnecting quickly. Miracle, what's he got? Alright, he's got the Veil picked up now. Presumably going to go for a Blink next. Maybe this additional Null Talisman is going to be for a Dagon a little bit later on. They are going to need some damage from the Puck this game. I don't think the Spectre can kill everybody on CG solo, so Puck definitely going to have to look at supplementing the team's damage somehow. QO reconnects, but little does he know he's getting 4-man ganked. Can he haunt over to the one target that's not here? Looks like he will be able to, but Armel's still got a Dragon Tail waiting for him. However, some fancy footwork from QO is actually going to end up saving his life. And forcing the Dragon Knight ultimate. So, not too bad. There is going to be a glyph down bottom, but the Radiant strike first in taking out the tier 1 tower up on top. They get the 3 points up in the Curse of Avernus, so taking that out pretty quickly. And looks like Fnatic just not interested at all in trying to defend this bottom tier 1 tower. Just going to make it a tier 1 for tier 1 trade. Dragon Knight gets the 11.5 minute Midas. Did buy a lot of small items along the way. I think I also saw him with a raindrop at one point, so Took him a bit to farm that up. Hana also going to be going back for a Midas now. I don't know. I don't like this greed that much from CG. I feel like they're giving Fnatic some opportunities. Though they might just feel confident to take it to the late game, given that they have kind of 2 full cores. The puck gets kind of scary late game. You know, once you get the 420 GPM talent, even if you didn't have all that amazing a mid game, you get 6 slotted real fast. Anyway. On the night holding off top. We're still kind of just hovering at even right now. Who's missing levels? Let's have a quick look. So no level 6 just yet on the Phoenix. Fly Solo definitely very keen to pick that up. You know, talked about this Monkey King plus Phoenix AoE teamfight combo that they're really looking for. Spectre tanks up a bit more with the urn, so now it's time to buckle down and start farming up the Radiance. Maybe QO goes for something a little bit different, but I think the Radiance is probably pretty good this game. And if they've seen these Midases, I think he should feel fairly confident to go for the Radiance build. Maybe because of the Omni Knight he considers like a Manta Diffusal, but they don't even really care about the Guardian Angel that much. So not a huge deal. Some really nice deep Dire Wards. I mean, all of these are pretty long durations as well. CG should be able to make some plays on this bottom side of the map, but, you know, Fnatic kind of mirroring them as well, also just setting up to take control over the Dire jungle and continue farming up there. So Omni Knight just hiding in some trees. Monkey King also going for a Midas. Is Phoenix gonna go for one? I don't even know if he can. Pudge is gonna go for a Midas. Alright, we are Midas gaming. Careful. No blink just yet. Wukong's command. Being pump faked. Up on the high ground. They do get the Boundless Strike out onto 2. Miracle actually going to orb into the trees, but that could be a dangerous spot for him. He's got the phase shift in 1 second, but how does he get out of this? He gets a nice Waning Rift onto a couple. Still finding his way through, and Febby is actually going to end up being the savior. Dragging him away with the hook. They don't want to let him go. Monkey King jumping back in, but they've got the coil, and they've got plenty of nukes to bring him down. However, the heal from Hana is there. He tries to drop off the ultimate, but he'll just be brought down, and now CG perhaps a little bit too far away from their tower. And with no catch left other than the Monkey King, it's just going to be a farming Dragon Knight ult. That's no good. Baden going to go for a Blade Mail. Just keep running at him. Fabby. He wants the hook. He's gonna get it. Drags him straight into the Waning Rift, and there is no counterplay available whatsoever. Fly Solo trying to throw out a little bit of harassment with the Sunray, but nothing that he can really do. QO already up to 2k gold after that fight up top, so certainly getting there. Does opt for the plus 20 damage, which I find a little bit interesting, but it is going to speed up his farm to whatever item he's going for just by that little bit. Dragon Knight finds an Arcane Rune, needs to go and use that Midas right away. I don't know. I don't know how CG pick the Dragon Knight and the Vengeful Spirit and then just kind of sit here. Again, I don't know if they necessarily lose all that badly late game. You know, Dragon Knight can buy a Silver Edge. They have ways of dealing with the Spectre, but the way that the draft played out, it looked like they saw the Spectre pick and then like, aha, we can punish. We can pick this Dragon Knight Vengeful Spirit and we can take all your towers and, you know, build up this huge advantage, but instead they're now kind of shifting back into a much more slow-paced game plan. Their supports do scale really well. Like, Phoenix and Monkey King are going to be extremely relevant once they get to the late game, and because Omni Knight has heroes that are worth enabling on his team, like the Venge and the DK, I don't think the late game is necessarily bad at all for CG. This is just an interesting way to play with their lineup. Could honestly work. They might actually have the better, like, 60+ minute lineup. Once the Spectre peaks, you know, Fnatic's lineup, the Crystal Maiden can get some items. You know, her talents are pretty good. Pudge as well, I guess. Does start to scale decently, but... Alright, CG with a smoke. Not gonna find anything. Smoke breaking right as they walked past Roshan. We're maybe anticipating that there was somebody in there, but nope. Still just moving around as a team. How's their vision situation looking? They've still got actually excellent vision. on the Clutch Gamers side. Probably need to flex that advantage a little bit. Take some control over the Radiant jungle, though they know as soon as they try and make some inroads onto the Radiant jungle, Fnatic just dodge them and head straight into the Dire jungle. Look at QO right now, 3k gold towards his relic, so he's gonna have that in another couple of minutes. DJ still just doing the majority of the warding. Febby almost has his Midas running. And yep, Monkey King Midas, Phoenix, well he's the hard 5. Probably wants one, but I don't think he can get it. Is he the lowest level in the game right now? Yeah, tied with the Monkey King. Febby wants that CS pretty badly. Very, very low. Alright. We got a Midas break, basically. Puck's got his blink. Miracle not opting to pick up any talents just yet, getting the second point up in the phase shift. Ohio just doing what Abaddon does. Being annoying. Pressuring the buildings. Curry getting sniped is going to alert Miracle to the fact that there are heroes looking for him. But they've got the chain stun. Will he be able to get the jump away to the orb? He won't. And Gabby will pick up a dominating streak. Very nicely played with the Boundless Strike and the Magic Missile. And I guess good scouting as well from the Wave of Terror. Fnatic not going to let this go without a rebuttal. They do get a really nice hook from Febby straight into this member. The Haunt popped as well. And QO going to jump in on the back lines. But Armlet's actually still alive. He Armlet toggles. They've killed off Febby. There's the toggle again. QO jumped in on the Omni Knight, but then ran the whole distance to the, well, had to run the whole distance to the DK. So not really doing all that much damage. And Omni Knight coming through in the clutch. Yeah, a little bit of taunting going on from the Vengeful Spirit. Gabby's gonna farm his way around. Alright. I don't know. I feel like I'm wrong about what... Maybe I'm not wrong about what Clutch Gamers are doing, but maybe I was just wrong about the intention for their lineup in the first place. Maybe they were never planning to push aggressively and 5-man and whatnot. Or maybe they were, and then the puck pick happened, and they were like, oh, there's only one carry on the enemy team. Maybe we're fine to just chill with our two physical damage cores. Nope. Alright, it's just Ohio. Looks like he's gonna be okay. Cops a bit of harassment, actually. Ultimate will be forced out here. Makes it back underneath the cover of the tier 1 tower. DJ, they need to be careful. There is some chain stun and a haste advantage. They get the swap back now, and with no ultimate, it looks like Ohio will actually end up falling. CG, well, took them a little bit, but now they're going to take out this tier 1 tower up top, and I think they're going to be able to keep that going and keep on pressuring onto the tier 2. Fnatic going to try and make this a trade for 2 tier 1 towers at the same time. Miracle slowly plinking away at bottom, and QO pushing in with his team over at mid, very, very close to the Radiance. But they're going to lose this tier 2. And CG, are they going to force them back by threatening the high ground a little bit? Might do just that. They do need to be a little bit careful about Febby. They don't see him just yet. He's TPing in. He's going to look for a hook, but Armel's standing right on top of his creeps, making this very difficult. Febby going to try for it, but doesn't manage to connect, and the tier 3 is dropping quickly. This would be big if they could grab it. They do get the silence under the Omni. He needs to be careful, but they throw out the Supernova and the Wukong's command, looking to make space this fight. QO jumping in really deep. He did get the Radiance just before jumping in, and they've now lost the Dragon Knight. Hudge, no Shrine. Looks like he will get burned down, but I don't know if Fly Solo can really get out of this. Does actually manage to dive across. QO still chasing, however. 3 for 2 so far, and it's just the supports. Fly Solo going to try for the TP out, and he will get it. No mana left in the tank for Miracle. And despite suffering some pretty heavy losses, Clutch Gamers do still manage to take out the tier 3 towers. So some extra gold waiting for them once they go and take out these shrines. And definitely going to restrict the map control from Fnatic a lot. They even managed to get in really deep and put down this Observer Ward here, which I think is unlikely to be dewarded by Fnatic. So that's going to set them up really nicely for future high ground pushes. Okay, so the Spectre finally has Radiance. This is where QO has to start putting in some work. They've got the Veil to amp up the damage as well. Miracle is working towards some Boots of Travel right now. Has picked up a Yule, so not looking too shabby on the net worth as Vengeful Spirit. Just gonna work on a Silver Edge. going to be a very important item to have against the Spectre. Dragon Knight going for one as well, though. Going to stop up for the AC first. Roshan is up. What? Is there a Solar Crest on the Radiant team? There is not. There is a medallion on Abaddon right now, so Ohio's going for it. CG just gonna smoke up. Saunter their way into the Roshan pit. They know that the Haunt is on cooldown, so this is not really all that difficult, and they actually take it extremely quickly with all the minus armor. Ohio is going to scout it out. The rest of Fnatic a little bit further away, but it's still 15 seconds on Haunt. If they can buy some time, they might be able to get that up. He's going to pop the Blade Mail and just keep on making space. They found the stun on the Crystal Maiden on the high ground. They bring him down, and now they've got the Supernova. The Boundless Strike as Miracle will be taken out. Immediate buyback from DJ. Doesn't want to give up on this Roshan. They do now have the Haunt ready to go, but the sustain from CG is pretty strong. Looks like they might just have to give it away. Febby backs up to do a little bit of jungling, and this is going to be an Aegis in the hands of the Dragon Knight. Of course, Dragon Knight is kind of an iffy Aegis hero in some ways because of the way that his ultimate works, but still, he got bursted in the last fight, so definitely helpful to have if he's not going to be going for a BKB or anything like that. Just trying to max out this farm efficiency here. Is steadily growing, so his impact in fights is going to be growing with it. It was just it was rough timing for Fnatic there. The Haunt just barely coming up. This ward was not dewarded, and Fnatic smoking underneath it. This could be a total disaster. They might smoke right into 5 heroes waiting for them. Fly Solo gonna dive forward, detects the smoke, and then keeps on diving out. Alright. Shadowblade. Where is it? Somebody playing courier? Alright, yep. For some reason Monkey King has the Vengeful Spirit Shadowblade at the moment. This Fnatic gank train is still running down towards bottom. They're going to pop the Haunt. They try for the hook, but again, they just hook the Haunt illusion. They're going to try and go for Armel here on top of the shrine. They will be able to pop the Monkey King. Armel being chased, but manages to go invis. Nice 3-man coil, and the silence, and the Crystal Maiden ultimate. Fnatic extremely, well, not disciplined, but very dedicated to getting those kills. And they will actually end up wiping out the Aegis, picking up a triple on the Spectre. That's almost his full Manta style completed. And it seems like Fnatic have just blown this game wide open. They're going to come in for this tier 2 push as well. Coordination still not quite there for QO and Febby, but I mean, they're making it work overall. Right. Puck gonna have his Boots of Travel up soon, and well, it seemed like the Clutch Gamers game plan was on track, but they are gonna get knocked down a peg by Fnatic. No Guardian Greaves on the Omni Knight just yet. He looks like he's actually just going for a pipe. I feel like the Greaves would be very helpful to deal with the Puck silence, but maybe he just feels like surviving is a better option. Try and take the edge off of that Haunt, that Radiance Haunt damage. Alright, yep, Manta completed. Solar Crest on the Abaddon. He's going for an Ags. So, oh my god. Spectre's gonna be unkillable, right? Like, well, not actually unkillable, the way that Abaddon Ags works with Mana Shield, but practically unkillable, because damage reduction stacks additively, so he's going to be taking 28% incoming damage. I mean, that's assuming that the Abaddon gets to the Ags. He's still a ways away, and I mean, CG, they've got something to say about this. They know that the Haunt is on cooldown, so this is a good time for them to take a fight. They're going to break this smoke immediately. Who can they find? The rest of the team's a little bit far away. Actually, the Haunt is up. They come in now. They've dropped the Supernova in the middle of the fight, splitting it up nicely. Armel running forward, but can't even find anybody. The Monkey King gets focused on the front lines, and now they hook in the Phoenix. eliminating him before he can get off another Sunray. Dragon Knight trying to fight it out. Hana does pop the ultimate, but they pop 2 more, and Fnatic continue chasing forward. Gabby trying to escape, but he does get hooked back in. They've got a sentry ward on the ground as well, and that is going to be a team wipe. Fnatic, I mean, I think they've just won this game at this point, right? What can Clutch Gamers do? I thought that the haunt was still on cooldown, but maybe it just came up. And if they can't take a fight, if the haunt cooldown is getting too close in terms of how short their respawn, or how long their respawn times are, that it's up for every single fight, then I don't know what they can possibly do. Yep. Tier 3 dead. Clutch Gamers didn't even get the opportunity to go and take those shrines. They're respawning soon. But Fnatic just gonna take this and then back up, presumably. Can they get any kind of catch? Monkey King hoping for it. And the fact that the Monkey King keeps getting bursted every single fight is maybe losing Clutch Gamers the game. They're going to TP in with Armel. There will be a defensive swap out from Gabby. They've got this shrine active. Will finally be able to get the Wukong's command out. They've traded 1 for 1 on the support so far. Febby trying to escape, but the Solar Crest and the Wukong's too strong. QO, along with Ohio, able to escape a little bit further. So despite a good catch from Clutch Gamers, they will still only get the 2 supports. And Haunt going to be back up in 10 seconds time. While the Supernova's back up. I guess Wukong command not too far away. Dragon Knight almost level 18. So that's a pretty big boost for him in terms of his ultimate. But the Spectre is now the unquestioned king of the map. Gonna pop a Haunt just for a little bit of scouting, it looks like. I guess just keep the fear in them. What are they gonna do? They're gonna go shrine up. Yep. Roshan's still down for at least another 2 minutes, and Clutch Gamers, seemingly these Silver Edges not quite working out the way that they were hoping. They're actually gonna change plans somewhat. Vengeful Spirit now going for a BKB. Dragon Knight also going for the BKB. Oh, all right. DJ just gets obliterated. Gabby bringing him down. So, all right. If they have 2 BKBs, then they can maybe afford to use the repel on the Monkey King, which would be pretty sweet. Because again, he's a really integral part of their team fight. This is a solar crested, shielded Spectre illusion. They will actually manage to fake them out into using a couple of spells on it, but now the real QO gets swapped in. However, they managed to hook back. The Dragon Knight is being disabled. They do get the Supernova in a good position, but Gabby's just taking way too much damage. They pop the Omnidar ultimate, but he gets dispelled immediately, and QO just does not care. He got swapped in, but he's just going to turn around and fight. The Sunray is doing good work to help win them this fight. Fly solo. What else can they do? Armel trying to run away. They will get one last auto attack from Miracle on the backlines. That finishes off the Monkey King, and now QO, since they've got rid of the Wukong's command, he can just keep on chasing forward. Hana, he's going to try and get that Town Portal Scroll out of his backpack, but the Dismember over the tree line from Febby will lock him down. It's a godlike streak for QO, and Fnatic with that looks like they are just going to be able to march down the mid lane, claim a secondary lane of racks. There's no tier 2 on this top side. And, alright. Clutch Gamers, turns out that they couldn't actually take these fights through the mid game. Maybe if we got to an hour, they would be in a decent spot, but I don't think Fnatic are going to let them get there. They're hitting their peak, and they're hitting it hard. They've got the Ags up on the puck as well, so even if they do manage to get the BKBs, that's going to be very, very difficult to deal with. Another Silver Edge forward. They are going to get the break. They get the Dragon Tail as well, but he doesn't have his ultimate for the time being. Getting chain stun. Looks like QO will be brought down. They can't keep him alive, unfortunately. Abaddon does not have the ultimate just yet, but the buyback's going to come in. QO senses blood. They get 2 kills immediately. The drag back from Febby finds a 3rd, and now the buybacks will be forced out of Clutch Gamers. If they can kill QO, maybe they can find the second lane of racks of their own, but there's still tier 2s up for Fnatic in both of their other lanes, so even if they lose him, this is reasonably secure. Abaddon gonna do his best to keep him alive. He's got the Solar Crest. They get the disable onto the Dragon Knight, and still no ultimate for 10 seconds time. Armel's not a man, not a dragon, he's just a man. And nothing that he can do to defend his second lane of racks here, as Fnatic just gonna back up. Roshan will be back up in about a minute's time as well, so Fnatic could potentially grab that to make up for the missing buyback on the Spectre. And CG. And with those buybacks being forced out, how many buybacks? Monkey King buyback, Dragon Knight buyback. They also really need to take this Roshan if they can, but 60 seconds on the Haunt, about 40 seconds on the Roshan. At least Dragon Knight has his ultimate this time around, but it doesn't look like there's any way he's really going to be able to farm up the BKB before the next fight. And oh my god, there's an Invis Pudge scouting. Does not have a gem or anything, so RML managing to sneak by for now. Neither team scouting the Roshan just yet. Spectre, what's the next item going to be after the Diffusal Blade? Well, I guess did buyback, so not going to have it. But is that the completed Aghanim Scepter? Yeah, that's the completed Aghanim Scepter for the Abaddon. Alright, I don't know how they kill anybody anymore. At least the interaction with the Blade Mail and the Ags doesn't quite work the way that would be the most overpowered. But Fnatic spot the Roche. They've got a Solar Crest. They've got the Abaddon passive, and that's going to make it very, very quick to take this out. Venge almost had... Actually, it doesn't almost have a BKB. I thought she had another component, but... Alright. Well, this is the do or die smoke for Clutch Gamers, and I think it's going to be die. They've already got the Haunt. They pop it. They're looking for the Phoenix. He does manage to pop the Supernova. They're dropping down the Wukong's command as well. This time around, they do have the Repel on the Monkey King, but they're just dismembering the Dragon Knight off on the other side of the fight. And this is before any of the cores get there. Kyo is still full HP. The Abaddon also just standing his ground inside of the Wukong's command. They've lost the DK. They've lost the Phoenix. They've lost the Omni Knight, and they've lost the game. Fnatic bringing it back. Kyo leading the way with his Spectre. And with that, they will be leading the way into a Game 3 as well. Clutch Gamers, I had my doubts about how everything was playing out. They seemed confident with all the Midases to take it into the late game, but Fnatic, those fights were so beautifully executed. The fight on top of the shrine, they smoked into an Aegis, and they're like, we don't care. We're Fnatic. We're gonna kill him, and we're gonna kill him twice. Right on top of the shrine. And, well, there you go. Exciting stuff so far. Fnatic seemingly getting their drafts back together a little bit more, you know, finally getting that lockdown. I think Miracle didn't have the flashiest game. Got picked off a couple of times here and there, but gave them the lockdown that his team desperately needed to really utilize this Spectre strategy, and ended up working out. So that's going to wrap it up for Game 2, guys. We're going to be back for Game 3 very, very soon. Make sure you stay tuned, and I'll see you then.